it's Plexus Chakra to itself, another astrological energy forecast. This will be for the week of July 21st to 27th of 2025. Thank you for clicking onto my video. If you are a returning member, subscriber, or viewer, welcome back, Soul Family. It's good to see you guys again. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for all likes, your shares, your comments, subscribe, super thanks, and donations. I truly appreciate them all. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. It's good to see a new face here. Please keep in mind, I do pull oracle cards just to give the overall energetic theme for the week, which means that these are collective oracle card readings and the messages will not and may not resonate with everyone. So please take what resonates with you in your particular situation and leave the rest. Please don't try to make the story fit if it doesn't fit. If it's not resonating with you, it just means that I'm not picking up on your energy, which is perfectly okay. Now, also with the oracle card readings, please keep in mind in the areas of legal, law, finance, health, mental health, please know that I'm not an expert in those areas, nor do I claim to be, and if I mention them at all, it is either what my intuition is picking up on or it's literally on the cards themselves. However, if it truly resonates for you, I highly encourage you to speak to those experts in those areas of expertise. I am also the author, I'll work at both fairy tales on my hand here, The Princess and Her Inner Voice, which is a fairy tale written for children about their intuition, what it is, how it speaks to them, and how if they listen to it, it can help them to overcome all obstacles, help them to heal from all traumas, as well as get them to their happy ending in whichever way that looks for them. It is a very self-love and self-worth based fairy tale. As well as The Dark High Priestess and the Prophet of the Queen of the Unseen. This is a fairy tale written for adults about healing and overcoming spiritual warfare, narcissistic abuse, told through the perspective of a divine feminine. Okay, she realizes that her family has tried to destiny swap with her through cursing her life, wishing terrible things to befall her, and she has to separate from them entirely. They are part of her awakening. And she reclaims her power, she decurses herself, she learns how to cleanse her energy through the help of benevolent beings, and they help her to fulfill her soul's purpose, which does consist of her being with a higher level soulmate or a twin flame. Both of these fairy tales are in the bard format, which means that they rhyme. So think like the content of Grimm's fairy tales, but written in the format of Dr. Seuss. They are written and illustrated in such a way to heal and appeal to your inner child as you read them. They're short, they're sweet, they inspire hope, and they make you feel good as you read them. The audiobooks have been released for both books when we attach this video for convenience. However, if you are so inclined to purchase the physical copies, you can find them on online retailers, Amazon, Walmart, and Barnes & Noble, just to name a few. The Princess and Her Inner Voice in second edition print, which means that the autographed first edition as well as my products can be found on my website, which is www.aspiraltotheself.com. All the information in the description box below for your convenience, as well as all of my social media platforms and pages, so that way you do not get scammed by people or pages pretending to be me. And that's been going around, so just make sure you know. My name, Aspire to Itself, is trademarked. My author pin is the Ulrich, so if you see anything else, it's not me. Like all my pages, those are the only ones I have. If you see any others, please report or block them. As always, I begin each reading and forecast with a prayer. I call upon God, Banja, Great Goddess Morgan, the Trinity Three, Lu, the Archangels, my ancestors, and the seen unseen. Please only allow this reading and forecast what I call upon, which is high vibrational energy and frequency. If any low vibrational entities, beings, and energy try to come through or try to astral project, open a portal, remote, view, remarring spirit, in the past, present, or in the future, I ask that you block, bind, and blind, and immediately return to sender 100-fold, in which I give you full consent to intervene and to intercede on my behalf, whichever way you deem fit. Please allow me to see what the collective to know by clear, concise messages. If any try to abuse technology in any kind of way by trying to take a screenshot, astral project, open a portal, remote, view, remonitoring spirit, and set, in the past, present, or in the future, I ask that you block, bind, and blind, and immediately return to center 100-fold, which I give you full consent to hold them accountable and bring them to justice in your way. Please protect me, this channel, the video, and the viewers. I deliver this divinely guided message. Any curses, hex, evil eye, black magic, witchcraft, and bindings, let they be blocked, binded, and blinded, and immediately return to sender 100-fold. The sender's mask will be ripped off. They'll be unable to hide. All their lies, deceit, and ill intentions will become exposed and publicly known. Okay, collective, I hope you guys are doing well. So let's get into the energy. So how this video is formatted is we're going to go over the retrograde energies because they can last from a few weeks to several months, and then we go into the weekly energies, which can, we have seen where it can go through several months or it can be as little as 48 hours. And then we go into the daily energies, and then we get to the corresponding chakra that's mostly impacted by the planetary energies. So the retrograde. What is a retrograde? A retrograde is essentially when the planet goes backwards in its motion. And right now we have Mercury retrograde, which will be in retrograde until August 10th. This is a pause period, and that's typically what retrogrades are. They're a pause for you to look over something, to revisit something that particular planet governs over prior to moving forward. And in Mercury's case, it's reviewing past decisions, revisiting old projects, old projects. It's you may feel some self-doubt and insecurities. It's not a time to begin new projects though, or to sign any contracts, or to take any exes back, okay? There could be delays in travel, some miscommunication issues, technology issues. There could also be accidents, so just make sure you plan ahead and give yourself lots of time. Then we have Pallas retrograde, which will be in retrograde until October 4th of 2025. This is where we're questioning established ways of thinking, and we're working in groups for humanitarian causes. We have Pluto retrograde, which will be in retrograde until October 13th of 2025. This is where we're challenging the status quo. There's societal shifts, there's power dynamics, and this is where we're purging old belief systems that are keeping us from moving forward. Then we have Saturn retrograde, which will be in retrograde until November 27th. This is where we're reevaluating past decisions. We're going through an inner restructurings and changing essentially like our thought patterns here. It's for spiritual growth. There could be delays that we need to persevere through. Okay, Saturn is karmic lessons. So things that you're going to have to persevere through. Remember, with Saturn being retrograde here, like you're not considered victorious because you've never fallen. You're considered victorious if every time that you've fallen, you've gotten right back up. The important part is that you've gotten right back up. Saturn is here to teach you the lesson, to strengthen that resolve within you, and you just need to get back up. So just persevere through it. Then we have Neptune retrograde, which will be in retrograde until December 11th of 2025. There's an energetic shift from focusing on the group to the self. This is where we have a desire for sovereignty. So, being independent, focusing on the self. This is a thing that's going to be in the weekly and daily energies as well, where we are getting away from being too focused on the home, because, part of the astrological events during the spring and summertime was focusing on the home, and now we're getting out of that because we need to focus on ourselves. There's a lot of shadow work that needs to be done. There's a lot of changes that need to be made. We're going through our own inner evolution here, inner revolution, and you can't really do that if you're plagued with everybody else's bullshit. So this is where we're focusing on the self, because there's something here that you need to accomplish. Whether that be through shadow work, whether that be through making some changes. It requires introspection, which requires you to be alone. Right? You got to cancel all that outside noise. So that's what's going on here with the retrogrades, and you're going to be seeing it every day in the daily energies, where you're getting rid of old outdated belief systems and ways of thinking, where it's telling you to self-sacrifice and to keep putting everybody above yourself. Cosmically, it's saying, nay, like you need to focus on you. Okay, like that whole airplane philosophy here. Okay, when it comes to the breathing mask, you got to put your own breathing mask on first, because you can't save nobody else if you don't have air, right? You got to take care of you first, and then you can focus on others. Like essentially, cosmically, like you've done your part with the whole focusing on the home, putting everybody else's needs above yours, nurturing, being protective, being very empathic. And now it's you time, and it's well-earned time. Okay, you're getting out of those, societal and familial beliefs where you got to keep putting yourself last. That's what we're getting rid of. So the weekly energies, this is where I do pull cards. So at the beginning of the week, July 21st to 23rd, this is where we're constantly questioning old ways of thinking, when, where you've let your emotions be the driving force behind your decisions. You're going to be utilizing diplomacy that will assist you with overcoming the obstacles of remaining self-assured as you nurture others while transmuting a wound into blessing. Again, there's a lot of shadow work here. There's a lot of transmutation. There's a lot of healing here that's going on, and you got to be alone. And you're, with confidence, questioning these old ways of thinking that make you feel like you have to put everybody above you. And being diplomatic, being balanced and fair and just is how you're going to be able to assist the obstacle with, remaining self-assured in your beliefs, remaining self-assured in what it is that you are trying to do, while you still nurture others, but not overly nurture, not pouring from an empty cup, to transmute a wound into blessing. So Spirit, what is this outdated way of thinking that the collective is purging at the beginning of the week? What is this old, outdated way of thinking at the beginning of the week the collective is purging? When it comes to you taking front and center stage, when it comes to you being seen, heard, and shining, okay, you're getting rid of that now. You're making the changes, okay, with your health, like making dietary changes, making food changes, things like that. You are changing things that you need to in order to put yourself in the vibration for you to be seen, for you to be heard in a confident way. Okay, so there's some kind of decision here that you typically made that was based off emotions, okay, like how you felt. And you're getting out of this old way of thinking when it comes to when when it comes to standing alone and this could be in the public eye, or this could be just standing alone, taking front and center stage of your life, of your journey, and going like, look, I need to make changes. I don't care if everybody else has got to make changes, but I got to make changes. And I can give you an example, like when I had to drastically change my diet, you know, to shift my own vibration, it's like, okay, I can't be held back by the family anymore. Like, family, hey, I know you guys like meat, but I can't have it anymore. So like, I will make 2 meals, or we're just all gonna go vegetarian, you know? So, I mean, that would be an example, like where you're taking front and center stage of your life, going, hey, there's some changes that I need to make in my life, and I gotta focus on me right now. I'm trying to transmute a wound into blessings, which again, it has to do with your vibration, your frequency. So you need to be alone. You need to be able to make these changes. You need to be able to make these changes to your diet, to your exercise, or, you know, developing meditative practices here, being more conscientious of the decisions that you're making in order to transmute that wound. Again, like, because you have to spend time alone. You have to focus on you, but still focus on others, but not to where like you're last in line when it comes to what you need to do. Okay, Spirit, what is this wound that the collective is going to transmute into power? What is this wound that the collective is going to be transmuting into power? What is this wound? When it comes to partnerships and feeling worthy of partnerships, this could be with money, you know, like financial partnerships, or this could be, you know, like romantic or platonic or familial partnerships here. You're transmuting some kind of wound here when it comes to your self-worth and your partnerships and your relationships, because you may have had some kind of confusion in the past about like who you're worth, what you're worth, you know, outdated ways of thinking. So I can give you an example with that as well. So say for me, I mean, I grew up in a very narcissistic and abusive household and or family. It wasn't just my parents that were narcissistic. It was the whole lot of them. It's like a disease. It's a generational curse, unfortunately, that I've had to break. But say for me, I grew up thinking that because it was even said about my own biological mother, you know, like, oh, well, you're just a farmer's daughter, or you're just a country girl, you don't deserve to have, you know, a man that can, you know, provide for you, or, you know, that can give you that kind of lifestyle that you're wanting. Like, they used to say that about everyone in my family used to say that about my own biological mother, you know, like talking down about her, trying to get her to question her worth, you know, like saying like if she couldn't be with a man that could provide, or, you know, that had money, they're essentially telling her that she was only worth poverty and she was only worth struggling in life. And the same, befallen on me. So like, she has that wound. That was what was said about her. And then the same thing was projected onto me. So it's like getting rid of those old, outdated ways of thinking that's trying to make you feel like you're unworthy of the kind of partnership that it is that you're wanting and you're desiring. You are not your past. You are not, you know, your environment or your bloodline. Okay, you are you, and you're changing the way that you think. If everyone else thinks that they're only allowed to be with piece of shit people, or they, you know, that they're destined to be poor and dissolute, that's them. That's not you, and it doesn't determine your worth. So for the rest of the week, so for the entire week, we have July 21st to the 28th. This is where analyzing the actions that you need to take through reevaluating past decisions and long-held beliefs when it comes to focusing on others versus yourself, that will help you to overcome the obstacle of openly communicating to loved ones. This is a struggle that's going to be reshaping your character. So you will not benefit from any kind of protection. This is something that's going to essentially make you here. And it's going against your family or society and or society's expectations of taking care of yourself. So again, it's like you have that whole societal expectation, that familial expectation where you take care of everyone first and then you take care of yourself last. You're getting rid of that. You're looking through old decisions that you've made where you may have chosen that path or may have chosen that route to go and where to get you. How did you have to circumvent that? What kind of obstacles did you get in that place? Like that. Breaking free of this old way of thinking, which will make you feel more confident and self-assured. So this is, again, when it says it's a character affirming event, it means like it's this whole reevaluation of, I always prioritize everyone else over myself. This is what has resulted from that way of thinking. This is getting you out of that shell and making you more confident and self-assured. So let's see what kind of past decision the collective make that they're going to be revisiting. What kind of past decision is the collective going to be revisiting? So your ancestors here. So this is an ancestor message here telling you about having some kind of loss where you had to get professional assistance to reach some kind of great achievement. So it's like you're reevaluating past decisions and long-held beliefs when it comes to focusing on other people, because you have lost something. You had some kind of decrease in your life, and you had to get professional help to get out of it in order to reach some kind of great achievement. And if you look at this is like marriage. This is, like this is where you're having some kind of ceremony. So it's like a big moment in your life here. So you're looking at big moments in your life where, because you kept putting other people above yourself, you lost things. And it's like you not only lost things, but then you had a costly bill of having to get professional assistance to get you out of things because you put other people above you, okay, in order to reach some kind of great achievement in your life. Yeah, when it comes to connections, when it comes to you being with the right person. So again, it's like, it looks like this energy this week is like you're going through that shadow work of where you have always put other people, specifically like romantic partners, above you. It's like your worth, the old outdated ways of thinking when it came to your worth surrounding partners, that was a regurgitated old belief from your family and what kind of beliefs that they have on who your partner should be and what kind of partner you should attract. You're getting rid of that because it's like every time I put everyone else above me, I've suffered, like I lost something and then I had to get help. This could be like divorce, this could be like legal issues, this could be, like when you lose like a home or things like that. Like an example of this would be like a divorce or something like that, where you put everybody else, like a divorce with kids and things like that. Every time I put everybody above me, I lost something. Say I lost something where I had to get the help of an attorney or a lawyer in order to reach the great achievement of being in the right relationship. But if I focused on myself and I healed myself, then I wouldn't have had this issue. Spirit, how is this going to reshape the collective's character? How is this going to reshape the collective's character? By getting rid of this old, outdated belief. How is this going to reshape the collective's character? How is this going to reshape the collective's character? Again, it has to do with your self-worth and what you are worthy to attract in your life. Again, like what kind of partnerships, what kind of values that you have, and then being shared back to you, like no matter the relationship that you have with either, like romantic partners, your friends, coworkers, bosses, family, what have you. It's like feeling worthy of having good people in your life. Like say if you, and give you an example here, it's like, say if you grew up like I did, where everybody around you a demon, you expect everybody in the world to be just like that. Like if, say the people that raised you, everybody they came from are all piece of shit demons, and then you go out into the real world, so you go to school and you start seeing everybody else, and because you already have that wound, from, narcissism and things like that, abuse, you start attracting people who are also like that. So it's like you become a beacon for narcissists, because like you don't know that you have a wound that you need to heal. Narcissists definitely don't fucking believe in healing, right? They don't believe in having any kind of accountability for their actions. It's always someone else's fault. So it's like, you don't know anything about healing. You don't know anything like that. You don't know like your vibe attracts your tribe. You don't know that shit. You just see every single person that you come in contact with is a piece of shit narcissist. Like they enjoy hurting people. They never take accountability. And then it, like reframes your mind about like people in the world. And you think that, oh, well, this is because this is what I keep attracting. That must be what I'm worth. Nah, like we're getting rid of that kind of thinking here. We're getting rid of that, knowing that you are worthy of happy, healthy, unconditionally loving relationships and not settling for less than that. And that means you got to cut people off and say fucking goodbye, bye-bye, right? Like never feel bad for that. You are worth love. You are worth having, people that care about you unconditionally and want to contribute to the partnership versus people that just want to take from you or hurt you or make you feel small. Now getting into the daily energies. So July 21st, the moon conjunctions at Venus. Your intuition will provide you the direction for your curiosity, like driving your curiosity to look at what needs to be said and what needs to be asked with those you have relationships with. It's going to be telling you that it's the end and the beginning and the beginning of the end, okay? You're getting ready to soar above all obstacles here. So your intuition is going to drive you to, okay, what am I curious about? What do I need to ask? What needs to be said with people that I have relationships with? But also that whatever kind of situation, circumstance, inner turmoil, whatever you're dealing with, it's short-lived. The end and the beginning and the beginning of the end. It's something very minute on your journey here. You're getting ready to soar above this obstacle, okay? So like I know if you're dealing with anything, just know that it's short-lived, and the forces of darkness always try to tempt you or get you to be tricked out of your spot when something good's about to happen. So if you're going through a lot of obstacles, or say you've had to take some kind of hit like recently, that's because you're getting ready to have this windfall of blessings and abundance come in, and they're just trying to get you tricked out of your spot before it comes. Like, don't let it win. Remember what I said. Having victory isn't that you've never fallen. It's that each and every time you've fallen, you've always gotten back up. So, you know, you may have taken a hit, but you're getting the fuck back up with a smile on your face, being like, pay me my blessings, bitch. Right? Like, that's exactly where you're at in life. Then we have July 22nd. This is going to be a highly energetic and impactful day. There's a lot going on astrologically this day. We have the moon in Cancer. The sun goes into the zodiac sign of Leo, which is the home sign for the sun. Sun parallels Venus, Mars opposition North Node, Venus squares North Node, and the moon conjunctions with Jupiter. Again, a lot. So we have the sun and Leo, which will be until August 21st of 2025. This is where we're going to have unparalleled creativity. This is where we're going to build our confidence. This is where we're going to be building our self-assurances. This is also going to be a harmonious time to develop deeper connections with people that you love. However, you have to move past your resistance to communicate openly in order to circumvent any issues pertaining to reaching your soul's purpose. You're breaking free from old, outdated ways of thinking and regaining your confidence. Being too analytical this day will not serve you. It'll actually have a counteractive effect of whatever it is that your goal is. So it's a great day to develop deeper connections with other people. But again, you got to get past your resistance to change. There's something here that you're needing to change for your overall benefit. And you may have to, you know, communicate this with the people that you love. Again, like my example was like when I had to change my diet, like, hey family, like I have to change my diet. No ifs, ands, or buts. You can either join me or, you know, I can do my stuff separately, but it is what it is, right? Like, being firm in that, and this is like building your confidence to having ownership of your life, having ownership of your path, not letting other people dictate your decisions, you know, giving your power away by letting other people make your choices for you. It's like, I don't care, you know, what kind of backlash that I get. This is what I need to do as part of my soul purpose. Like, I have to do this. It's what's important to me. And then the people that love you will be there for you, especially if it doesn't like involve hurting them or anything crazy like that. Then we have July 23rd. This is where the sun sextiles Uranus and Venus squares Mars. There will be many opportunities to creatively gain your independence and confidence. Again, openly communicating your plan will help you to find order in the chaos. If you feel overwhelmed, take time to meditate and pray. Remember, you should at least get an hour a day of meditation and prayer, you know, and you can always think of a million excuses of why you shouldn't or how you could utilize that time doing something else. There's no better investment than investing in yourself. So take the time, prioritize yourself, quit putting yourself fucking last. Okay, you're better than that. Like, quit putting yourself last. On July 24th, there will be the new moon in Leo, as well as the sun trines Jupiter and the sun trines Neptune. So on this new moon, you're gathering together all of the knowledge of what you need to do, what changes that you need to make in order to better take care of yourself. Again, that's been the theme here. You're taking better care of yourself regardless of what anybody says, right? Pursue joy, tap into your creativity, and socialize with others. You're in a new period of confident looking out for yourself. So this is a part of your journey where you're reclaiming your confidence. You're getting your confidence back and looking out for numero uno, again, because you can't help other people if you don't have any air, right? So you're making some kind of pivotal change here that's going to require you to go and reevaluate past wounds, past decisions, past, you know, ways of thinking that put you in this spot and what it has resulted in. You know, like the definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You are analyzing this and then you were going, okay, well, this is the result I got the first time. Let's change that so that way I can get this result, so I can have this goal. And it has to do with your self-worth, and it has to do with building your confidence, okay? Heavy solar plexus energy this week, hence the yellow. On July 25th, Sun oppositions Pluto, Mercury squares Lilith, and Mars quintiles Jupiter. Being too self-assured will essentially put blockages to you questioning old ways of thinking. So being too sure of yourself, being too like you know everything is going to prohibit you from making the changes that you need. Again, we're going through that inner restructuring. You're changing the way that you think. You're changing the way of your thought processes, how you process thoughts. Okay, you're getting rid of that. And if you're too assured, like, yeah, I'm right, like you're gonna miss this opportunity to do that inner restructuring. Again, you're reevaluating past decisions and or projects in order to heal a relationship without abandoning yourself. Again, you're bringing healing without self-abandonment, or trying to conform to the other person. The day holds high potential to utilize your talents methodically in order to achieve emotional growth and developing deeper connections. So this is an opportunity that you can utilize. Okay, it's going to help with your confidence. It's going to help you to heal a relationship. It's going to, and healing that relationship is just going to provide a deeper bond. Then on July 26th, the moon goes into the sign of Virgo and Mercury quintiles Uranus. Your intuition will be very high in this day. Okay, you are going to have the source of divination, the source of prophecy. You're going to get a lot of messages this day, or a very, very vivid one that you can't forget. Pay extra attention to the details that you need that's going to be coming up. So your intuition is going to be speaking to you, but it's going to be giving you the information that you need when it comes to your soul's journey, and not to, heavily judge your negative experiences. Your negative experiences are what shaped you. Again, like, we have a character affirming event this week. Like, it has to do with your self-worth and getting rid of all of the thoughts that make you feel like you're unworthy, right? So this is where we're realizing and embracing that, I went through that struggle, that lesson, but this is what it made me as. And it made me this way, and it opened up doors for me. So it's the lessons get the blessing. So if you learn a lesson, like a karmic lesson, you overcome that, you get a blessing. So that's where, it comes to embracing your experiences. Yes, your path may have been very, hilly, but it got you farther in a shorter amount of time versus somebody's path who's just straight. So like, each and every time you got back up, you got more. Okay, so that's just reiterating the Monday energy of, whatever you're going through is short-lived. It's just some kind of test that you are to pass, and then you get a blessing, right? And it's like, it may be bullshit that you're going through it, but it's like, it's going to get you a lot farther, It's a great day to break free from old ways of thinking and revisit an old project for you to utilize your creative energy and your creative talents. So again, it's like you're doing that whole inner restructuring. You're getting out of old ways of thinking, so that way you can look at old projects with new eyes, with a new perspective, and to utilize your creative energy. Now, of course, I'm sure you have probably guessed that the chakra that coincides with this week's energies is the solar plexus, the third eye, as well as the sacral chakra, but more on the solar plexus. So yes, our intuition is going to be very, very heightened this week. Your higher self's going to be talking to you, through that shadow work, through facing your inner demons, healing, things like that. But then you have your sacral chakra, which is your self-worth. Again, it has to do with self-worth in relationships and the kind of partnerships that you can attract. But the main one is the solar plexus, which is your personal will. It's your self-esteem, your self-confidence, and it's your boundaries here. And that's what it looks like you're communicating. It looks like this week, when it comes to your solar plexus, you are establishing boundaries with other people. You're openly communicating with people what it is that you need to do, your plan, the actions that you need to take when it comes to making the changes to either transmute some kind of wound, doing that shadow work, and or making changes for your life, right? But you have to communicate with other people, so that way you're on the same page. And they know that you're not just being neglectful or you feel some type of way, right? You're doing what you need to do. You're communicating effectively. That's exactly what this is. We're communicating effectively. We're building up those boundaries, and we're doing so confidently. And when you confidently express your boundaries, it's going to make you more confident later, right? Say if you struggle with the confidence and the self-esteem right now, if you keep doing the action, practice makes perfect. Like, every time you do it, you're going to be more confident, but also more self-assured. But again, it's also your personal will, directing your will into the world. It's a storage house for our judgments, opinions, and beliefs we have gathered about ourselves and from our world. Again, we're purging these old, outdated ways of thinking when it comes to partnerships, when it comes to, putting other people before us and always putting ourselves last. We're getting rid of those thoughts. And it's thoughts that we either got through society and or through our family, our environment. It governs over your self-esteem, your self-confidence, your self-respect, your self-identity. It's a source of cognition and psychic energy pump. Our thoughts are formed here, and this is where we have emotional and psychic balance. So again, this is where your thoughts come from. And if you're going through an inner restructuring, yes, it's going to affect your crown chakra, but it's mostly going to be impacting your solar plexus, because it's restructuring your thoughts, your emotional balance here. Again, it says that you're looking at old decisions where you based your decisions off of your emotions here. You're getting out of that. You're being more methodical and analytical, but also you're going with the flow, because again, with that retrograde energy there's delays, there's hindrances. It's meant to be a pause, a slowdown. So this is where you're pausing and slowing down and taking the time that you need, that you may not would have otherwise, to heal this unworthiness wound, but then to learn how to communicate effectively and openly with the people that you care about, so that way you can have a deeper connection with them. So that's very, very important. The yang function of this chakra is the expression of ourself in the world, and the yin function is opinions and judgments about ourself and others. The gut response helps us to make effective decisions. It's a sense of knowing that helps us to achieve our soul's purpose. So it creates situations and opportunities and events to benefit the soul and the self as a whole. Again, like our intuition is going to be speaking to, especially later in the week when it comes to, embracing those negative experiences that you had, that they are part of your growth. They're part of your soul's evolution. So it's like, you may have had a shitty life. You may have had a lot of challenging obstacles, but you're a lot farther in life than a lot of people, right? Like, you see the people that have the cushy life, they don't really get very far. They don't have any motivation. They, like Jackie Chan, he didn't want to give his child any of his money, didn't want to give him an inheritance because he said that he needs to make it himself, meaning he needs to have his own trials and challenges in life so that way he can get farther than I did. I don't want to be the maximum, the highest potential for the bloodline. I want him to surpass me. I want him to do better than me. That's a healthy parent and adult here. That's a healthy parent thought of wanting your kids to surpass you, because that's evolution, right? Like, you don't have children to compete with them. You don't have children to be better than, because what does it say about your bloodline if you're the peak? It means that everything that's going to befall your bloodline after this is stagnation. So it's you would hope and you would pray, and it's unhealthy to think otherwise, that your children surpass you, that they accomplish more than you. You give them the opportunities you didn't have. Again, you're building a legacy, you're building your lineage here. So you have to do that. You have to think that way. Now, if this chakra is at a misalignment, malfunction, it can have fears that stem from rejection, criticism, looking foolish, again, caring what people think about you. We don't give a fuck about what people think about us, because people hate themselves, and they don't know anything about themselves. So they hate themselves and they don't know anything about themselves. Why the fuck would you take advice or accept anyone's opinion of you that doesn't even have a high opinion of themselves? But also physical insecurities, others will, discovering our secrets. So, don't have secrets. Don't be doing deceptive shit. Every choice that enhances our spirit strengthens our energy field. So it has less connections with lower vibrations. So again, it says this is a character affirming event for you to develop your confidence. So these choices we are making this week is enhancing our spirit to strengthen our energetic field. Again, making those changes that you need. Like when I told you about how I stopped eating meat, I stopped drinking caffeine. For a very long time, I wouldn't have any sugar, I didn't drink any alcohol. I still don't, I've cut a lot of things out of my diet. And, I intermittent fast, so changing the time periods that I eat, everything. It's making those kind of decisions is to heighten my vibration, which again, my energetic field, to make sure that I don't have any holes or, have any kind of portals that can be utilized from other people doing their woo-woo, right? So it's you're making these changes so that way you can, saying if you're healing, if you are healing each chakra, so if you're healing your wounds, it makes you less vulnerable to people who do the witchcraft, okay? One, it's heightening your vibration. So you're not a vibrational match to attract those people. Like I mentioned before, say if you grew up with nothing but narcissists and then you kept attracting all those kind of people because that's all you were surrounded by, and then you had those wounds, and then you just kept attracting those kind of people because you had to learn that lesson, but didn't know that you needed to learn that lesson, right? So that's what you would be going through. If you heal that wound that is at a resonance level with those people who are like that, then you're not going to attract those people anymore, right? But then when you make the changes, it also heightens the vibration, strengthens your energetic field, and because you don't have any chakra, any wound that is at the resonance level of, say, witchcraft or black magic or energy manipulations, it's not going to have anything to hold on to, because witchcraft needs a seed within you to hold on to. There's nothing there for it to attach to. So that's why the best defense or offense with spiritual warfare is to change the self, change your thought processes, change the way you think. Again, that inner restructuring, utilize this opportunity to do that. Healing your wounds. When you get triggered, instead of getting angry and all that, you figure out what's the root here. Why am I even upset? Why is it affecting me this way? get to the root of it and then heal it. Do something to transmute it, like art, gardening, going for a walk, like expressing that lower vibrational emotion in a healthy way to get it out of you. And then again, like you're less susceptible to any kind of spiritual warfare, anything like that. You can have emotional, mental issues such as trust, fear, intimidation, self-respect, care of oneself and others, responsibility for making decisions, sensitivity to criticism, and personal honor when it comes to this chakra. If it's at a misalignment, again, it can create arthritis, gastric ulcers, colon, intestinal problems, diabetes, anorexia, hepatitis, and adrenal dysfunctions, again, because like your wounds, your energy is what manifests diseases and illnesses and things like that. Addictions that can stem from this malfunction is like being addicted to caffeine, which significantly lowers the vibration, beer, corn processed alcohol, any kind of alcohol pokes holes in your aura. It makes you susceptible to possession. Overworking, which can again thin the aura because you aren't taking care of yourself. So when your body feels stressed, stress is a killer. So if your body feels stressed, it takes moments of your life away. That's why it's important to do the meditating and the self-reflecting for an hour a day, at least doing it for an hour a day, because you have to ground yourself and balance yourself. Otherwise, your aura is going to be very thin, which again, it can make you susceptible to spiritual warfare. But the biggest one is going to make you subjected to illness. You ever notice the people that work all the time, they get sick all the time. And depending upon what their belief is, based on old, outdated beliefs, is that if they're sick, they still go to work, which means they spread it to other people, right? So like, because they were, taught that you ditch the self, you abandon the self, you take care of what you need of, which is your job, because you need that money to pay for your family, versus going, I can't help anyone else if I'm not okay, right? Like, see, like the people who have the flu and stuff like that go to work. I remember during the COVID time, like my job literally gave people the option. They gave them 3 options. You can go home, work from home, or 2, you can, go home and get tested, wait 3 days unpaid to get the results and come back. Or you could just act like it doesn't exist. The third option was literally legitimately an option. I kid you not. And so people, especially the older generation, because the field that I was in was the older generation, they came to work. So imagine, you have at the time it was called a very, very deadly virus. You have a very, very deadly virus that people are willing to emit to other people, especially people that could have pre-existing health conditions that would make them more susceptible to it by choices, by, how they govern their own body and their, their own habits and things like that, their own health. And you just bring it in because you have that old, outdated way of thinking that you have to abandon the self, that you have to put everyone else above you, like money. You got to put money above your own well-being, even though if you're incapacitated, if you aren't well, you're going to not make money anyway. If you don't listen to your body, it will only get louder, and it will provide you with a message that you can't ignore, meaning you can get sick for a very long time. So if you don't take care of yourself, it'll put you out of commission for a long time to force you to take care of yourself. But also intense hatred and over criticalness. So like getting in your head, intense hatred. It's a big one. It's a big one that's you're seeing societally right now with people. I mean, we have concentration camps, and those don't come into fruition out of intense love, right? So thinking that another human being should suffer because of where they originate or what their skin color is or their gender or their sexual preference is insanity. And it's sad, but we're getting out of that outdated way of thinking collective. I mean, we're gearing towards the next revolution. So, I mean, astrologically, we're in the same type of events and energy of the end of World War II, going into the Cold War, the Civil War, and the French Revolution. So we're there, and it's like when you look outside, just know that darkness hit this earth before, and the light was still able to overcome. If the world could survive after the Nazis, I mean, and the Nazis weren't even just killing people, they were also using the occult. Like Hitler had an insane obsession with the occult things. I mean, they were doing experiments on people, so utilizing science, but then also utilizing witchcraft as well. Like, where do you think MK Ultra come from? Like, it's not because that guy just had a bright idea. He took inspiration from some of Hitler's experiments, and he had this thing for a cult. So he was either going to kill you or he's going to curse you, you know, and he wasn't just looking to curse, you know, one person. He was going to do it at a global level. So, I mean, like we talk about how people can unalive people with spiritual warfare. Hitler looked into it. There was covens out there, secret societies that are on the bad side of things that, you know, are motivated by money and low vibrational as fuck. Like, they were totally in Hitler's camp, especially the whole, like, intense hatred. Some of these secret societies just hate everyone because they hate themselves. But, I mean, that's a thing. And if the world was able to survive that darkness, it will survive this one. It's just going to be an awakening. There's going to be a trigger, and we're starting to see what those triggers are. You know, like the United States has the concentration camps. We have the Epstein list, and knowing that our president's on it. They're very loud in how they're telling everybody, hey, I'm on it. We're seeing the government working away, and it's not even just the president, it's the government itself that's literally putting up roadblocks so it doesn't get discovered. So hiding it purposefully and publicly, and then trying to gaslight. So it's like, eventually, the collective is going to snap. Eventually, the collective is going to rise up. Again, we're in that energy. And if you look at the themes of what happened during those time periods, you know, like you had race issues, you had, you know, somebody who felt like they knew better for everyone else, want to control everyone else. And again, race issues, that's a big one, but also there was like societal shifts. There was an inequality of livelihoods, of lifestyles, of money, you know, the French Revolution, inequality of power. You're seeing that shit playing out again. And it's like, we survived this before. We'll survive it again. So keep that in mind, collective, okay? Don't let the man get you down, okay? You just got to be that light, because when darkness comes, more and more people are being activated, and that's what you're seeing. You're seeing a mass activation, a mass awakening, because the light has to beat the dark. And it always does. They get to have their reign of terror for however long. Then they all pay in some kind of way. They all pay, they get exposed, and then we go on living another day, rebuilding into something better. So, all right, collective, I hope I was able to provide you with clarity of what you already intuitively know, as well as what to expect this week. Thank you for watching. If you like my vibe in this video, please like, share, and subscribe. It definitely helps out the channel. Please stay tuned for a brief little snippet of the Dark High Priestess and the Prophetic Queen Lizzie.